Good morning, everyone. And there rolls a GO train into Union Station. And my plans today were actually to come to Union Station and take the GO train out to the suburbs, and then I was going to live stream, and then I had a video planned after that, and then I would make my way back into the city. But instead, here we are live streaming from just in front of the CN Tower instead, because when I went to record my GO train video, my camera said no SD card in it. I forgot to bring an SD card, and sometimes I keep a backup one in my backpack just in case I do this, but today I didn't, so those plans are on hold. I'll do those again later this week, if not early next week. So instead, we're gonna have to settle for a Toronto live stream, which is a little bit unfortunate. I was gonna get a few videos out of today, plus live streaming from out of the city, but I'll have to get tested for dementia or something, because my brain has not been firing on all cylinders lately. Hopefully you can see and hear everything okay. Not early next week, so instead this stream is running in 4K. Do check your settings cog and make sure you're watching it at the maximum resolution for your given display and player. Mr. Sunjib's here, Picard, Medano 1973, Sheena Roberts, Jeanette Morales, Arg Scott, Edward Dobson, Jennifer Gala, Alicia Lewis all the way from Thailand, Embedded SRAM, Jeff 254, Eliz P. I'm at the point, Aiden Thompson McGuire, Jeffrey Wu. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to this foggy day. Things haven't been going as I planned lately. The last stream was a bit of a disaster as well. There goes an Up Express train passing a GO train. We'll get moving in a second. I'm just trying to think of where we want to go today. Thank you, Jeanette. We're not fiddling with the wireless mics today. I've just got wind protection on the iPhone's internal mics. But the Up Express platform is just straight ahead there. We'll maybe dip into the skywalk Once we see that train cozy on up to the platform, that's the one that'll take you out to the airport. Randy Ruckus here, Whitby Dude. Thank you so much for tuning in. And we are already at over 109 viewers, just 5 minutes into the stream. Thank you so much, guys. As we look up at the Tower of Power. You could not see this at all from in front of Union Station. Randy Ruck says we're going to Montreal. I don't know about that. Maybe you are. How much longer are you in Thailand for? Edward says, how can I donate? It's not necessary. I appreciate the inquiry as we head into the skywalk. But if you insist, there should be a little $ super chat button at the bottom of the screen. There's also links to PayPal, Patreon as well in the description. We gotta be whisper quiet in here. I feel like everybody is gonna be able to hear me. Outlaw Radio says the fog has lifted. We'll get a look at what it's like in front of Union Station. Jennifer Gallus says, Montreal, it's 30 degrees and sunny. That's nuts. That's nuts. Speaking of Thailand, Google sent me a photo saying 10 years ago today, and I was taking a selfie in Bangkok. Hello, Christine. Christine says hello from a hot and sunny Montreal. There's another GO train. It's been a while since I've done a GO train video, so that was my hope today. They do have quiet sections, so I was going to try to not sit on a quiet section so I could do a little narrating. We'll get out and make that happen another day. Greetings, Sebastian. This is the Skywalk. There's that up express train we saw earlier. And yeah, many of the financial district skyscrapers are still covered up in fog. Jet says it'll be 36 in Houston today. It's actually not that cold here. It's like 15 or 16. Greetings, Vivian. Which suburb was I planning to visit? I'm going to hold off until I actually go. If you're just tuning in, my plans were to come to Union Station and grab a GO train off to the suburbs. I was going to do a video catching the train and then taking it out to the suburbs, Then I was going to do a live stream, and then I was going to do another video that I had researched and planned. But the good news is I can always just do that on another day. Vivian Johnson with her late fees. Thank you, Vivian, for the $5 and for paying your late fees. I will have you know there is interest on that though, so you are still a little bit short of the $5. You better not fall too far behind on that, because that interest will really start to... All right, obviously I'm not being serious, but thank you, Vivian. I keep hearing like a key noise. Oh, there we go. One of my zippers on my backpack wasn't tucked in. But we are walking through the skywalk. Greetings, sweet cheeks. The Lego Group began in 1932, but did not enter the Canadian market until 1961. So I think we're gonna go east today. Next train departs in 2 minutes, 12, 12:15, and 12:30. It's quite convenient if you're going to the airport. Pay with your Presto. You don't really need a Presto card these days. You can just tap with your credit card or a debit card or Apple, Samsung, Google Pay, Visa, MasterCard, Amex. Greetings, Estelle. Ooh, I accidentally pinned a comment by Alicia Lewis. So my original stream was supposed to start in 5 minutes from now. I would have been at my destination. Let's look towards York Street and the Royal York. There's where Henry once used a locker to hold his bag all day. Vivian Johnson, $2. Is this okay? I hate to be in debt. $2. Well, Vivian, let me check. You are no longer in arrears. Thank you for the $2. Drew says the Presto card is handy for the Apple Watch. That's if your Apple Watch still has battery life. That thing lasts like 10 minutes. This watch does everything I need it to. And it gets me about a week on battery. It's got a nice OLED color display. Tracks all my fitness stuff. I can filter whatever notifications I want through it, which is not something you can do with iOS with any third-party watch. You can only do that with Apple's watch because Apple got an Apple. Greetings, Pat75. Here's the Visa Infinite Credit Card Lounge. I have one of those. You probably have to have a train ticket to get access to that. It's a pretty typical credit card. Nothing special or fancy. All right, this is the Union Station Great Hall coming up. Just gotta adjust one thing. We'll get moving outside in a few minutes. Lisa, then what is that lounge for? This is the always under construction Union Station.
Yeah, I definitely want to be a cop.
Just overheard that security guard say, I definitely want to be a cop. Get a nice seat here. Although you really wouldn't want to wait for your train in this area unless you were super early. Okay, the girl says I haven't been to Union Station in 20 years. Well, this station, if I can recall, opened like in 1927. It was like the third Union Station. The other two were at different locations. And this revitalization project has been going on for well over a decade. Let's head out. Actually, let's keep going here. And then we'll hop outside. We're still renovating it before the 2015 Pan Am Games? Probably. This section recently opened up, the Bovine Wine Club. There's a really fancy-ass steak restaurant, apparently, right here. Bay Street, go left. Hopefully, we're not going to pick up a copyright from this song. What place is this? This is Blue Bovine. It's supposed to be a super fancy-ass steakhouse. I've actually heard mixed reviews on it. All right, let's get moving outside. We've dilly-dallied for 20 minutes and I haven't even really been outside. Normally, you'd have a really nice view of the tower from here. But today, we can barely make it out. Let me get my sleeves on. Greetings, Mike. You know what? It's probably a good thing I didn't do my planned video today. This weather's kind of crummy. And I didn't bring a hoodie or light coat. So I might have been a little bit miserable going to where I was planning on going. There's a look north up Bay Street, up through the heart of the financial district.
What's your YouTube channel?
Johnny Strides.
Johnny Strides?
Yeah, cool. That guy just assumed I was on YouTube. I should have been like, no, I'm a kick streamer. I've been kicked off of YouTube and Twitch. Digital Blade Canada, member for 5 months. Trains in Japan have spoiled you. The train system in Japan is amazing. Mike Landry, $3. Hi Johnny, why are you a bonehead? I explained it. Oh, and we had a super chat from Marge. Late fees, interest included. Thank you, Marge, for the $5.99. Thank you, Digital Blade Canada, for 5 months of membership. And Mike Landry, why am I a bonehead? Well, I hopped off of the subway train. I was just in time to make my video taking a GO train. I whipped out my camera, I set up all my audio gear. I turned my camera on and it said no SD card. Right before I left my home, I thought I recorded a video yesterday. I didn't yet transfer to my PC, so I pulled the SD card out. And normally when I do that, I immediately put another one in the camera just so I have one. But I didn't. And the SD card was mounted in my PC. And I didn't have a backup one in my backpack, which I sometimes do. So rather than take the GO train out without making a video, and then I wouldn't have been able to make the video I planned after the live stream, I thought, we'll just do this instead. So yes, that is why I'm a certified bonehead. But let's keep going east. What do you guys want to take? Front Street or the Esplanade? Or maybe a little bit of both? I'll let you guys pick. Just do this instead. Hopefully I hadn't hopped on the GO before I canceled. No, I did not. But I was able to test my new credit card on the Presto. I spent a good part of my night going through all my apps, changing my payment method over. You may have heard a rant I made against TD Bank in a recent Bangkok video. Well, I'm making good on my word. I'm switching my primary card away from TD. They can go F themselves. I'm a very spiteful person. Jeanette, $7. We forgive you for your bonehead move. Thank you, Jeanette. You forgive me, but I don't forgive TD. Thank you so much, Jeanette. Randy Ruck says Esplanade. Canadian Girl says Esplanade. Stephanie Jackson says Esplanade. Riley Reed. Everyone's saying Esplanade. It looks like the Esplanade is the wiener. Let's do it. We'll do Front Street another day. Jody, am I using Wealthsimple? I have a Wealthsimple account. I'm not going to say if I use it that much. I have Questrade as well, and a few others. Ooh, nice bet. But I am switching my primary payment method that I use for just about everything away from my TD card just to an Amex card. That way I can still get all my points. And they actually have better multipliers on Amex. So I should have been using that all along, but screw you, TD. You've cut me off while I'm overseas too many times and made it ridiculous to unlock my card? We sent you a text message. I'm not using my SIM card, you idiots. I'm overseas. So the Esplanade runs between Yonge Street and Parliament Square Park. And it's got this kind of funky fake Flatiron style condo here, which I think is also a Novotel. The old bus terminal used to be across the street, but CIBC Square has invaded that space. Haunting Live, I'm not sure what they're doing with this new alleyway. That might just be a new road that opens up. But CIBC Square is occupying most of what was the old bus terminal. The new bus terminal has moved to the southern CIBC Square building. Greetings, Haunting Live. Estelle says, have I tried the prepaid credit cards? No. I always have backup payment methods with me. I kind of anticipate TD doing that. Hey, you used your card at a Tim Hortons. How suspicious. Your whole account is now locked. Thanks, assholes. Oh man, if you're into skyscraper fog photography, this might be a good day for you. Cam says, if you tap with your credit card, how do you make sure you're being charged the correct fare for your trip? I've never had that issue. It's always been exactly what it should have been. And at the end of the day, if I end up paying an incorrect fare every once in a while, that's not a huge deal. And it's never happened. So someone asked me the other day where a good place to visit a patio is in the city on a nice day. And I mentioned the Esplanade, and they said a lot of places here were closed, but I don't think that's the case. There's the old spaghetti factory. We walked by a keg earlier. They have happy hour on their patios. There's this little bar called Cathedral. Scotland Yard has been here forever. $2 off all Molson draft beer all day long, open till 2 a.m. Dave says there's an intense forest fire out there in Winnipeg. There's the beer market. That's been a mainstay of this area forever. Got a little stage in the back. Oh, on a Friday or Saturday, it's a borderline club-like atmosphere. Hey, there's something new. Well, I was not aware this No Frills opened up. Is the spaghetti there any good? I haven't been since a very long time ago. I couldn't tell you about that. That Novotel was used as a shelter during the pandemic. I think the city took it over and leased out a lot of the rooms. And I think it's returned to hotel operations. Sebastian asking if I know Action Kid is in Hong Kong. Yes. We chat fairly often. We'll be there a few more days, I think. There's Goose Island. And this is the foot of Church Street. Randy Buck says really nice patios in Yorkville. Yeah, there's some good ones there. YH, $5. Guess who's back? Back again. Tell Johnny Boy and his mods and friends. YH, thank you. Thank you for the $5. YH. This must be a new account. Just know if you're not on your best behavior, you may find yourself getting banned again. Just putting it out there. But thanks for the support. Stephanie says Goose Island Lager is good. Their IPA is good as well. Alicia saying she's the queen of Thailand. Here's a patio I went to last year. Say what? It's good to see this little beer garden they opened up. Has reopened it. This one doesn't open till 4. We're at the backside of the St. Lawrence Market, pretty much. Jellybean, $20. Thank you, Jellybean, for the $20. I've already told the bonehead story about 5 times, but thank you for the 20. Long story short, I went to make a Go Train video, and I was going to live stream at my destination and record a video after, but I didn't have an SD card in my camera. Mike says, I'll be good. I took my meds today. Thank you for the $2. Keep taking those meds if that's what it takes. And hey, look. Another glorious few seasons of a pedestrianized street here. This one seems to have been taken over today by a school on a field trip. There's some really nice things going on this street in the summer. I wonder what's going to happen to this space now that the new Northern Market has opened. Farmers Market every Saturday, 5 a.m. to 3 p.m. But that's in the new building. I guess they're gonna take this down. There's the backside of the St. Lawrence. Mike says the beer market's not open until 4 p.m. Was it ever open earlier? On a weekday? It's kind of out of the way from the financial district crowd. It's more of an after work kind of place. I imagine even during the best of times on a weekday afternoon, that place would be dead. It's probably not worth staffing a kitchen. As we make it to Lower Jarvis Street. And we've climbed over 300 viewers. Thank you so much, guys. to like, subscribe, hit the bell, and all that fun stuff. Just a heads up, tomorrow there might be a live stream in the evening. That's going to be a little bit different, I think. We are walking east on the Esplanade as voted in by you guys. Catholic school on recess. Whippy Dude says, am I going to Birksea Park? No, we have passed Birksea Park. Maybe Mike T. Maybe something like that. This is always a really, really nice stroll in the St. Lawrence neighborhood. You get this really nice tree-lined sidewalk, park on one side, relatively low traffic street on the other. Whippy Dude asking, didn't I used to live around here? Yes. I lived on Longboat Avenue. I think a lot of people opt to walk on the Esplanade instead of Front Street just because it's so nice. All right, thank you, Liam. Thank you, Jason Stewart. Coming up is Lower Sherburne Street. That's Frederick Street there. So there's a Leafs game on tonight, and apparently a long weekend is almost upon us. Oh, and I figured out what happened on my last live stream. The OBS program had crashed. It wasn't my internet going down. It was the software that I use to relay the stream to YouTube. That was the cause. So had I been able to remote back in, I could have fixed it. I had like my MacBook Air on me. I could have hopped into TeamViewer or something, but if it happens again, I set it so the stream won't die. So I won't have to create a part 2 of the stream. I can just carry on. But we'll be in 1080 instead of 4K if that happens. Jelly Bean says OBS is free software, man. Yeah, it's only like the universal standard that everybody uses for live streaming. If you're using like a paid live streaming service, you are wasting money. OBS has way more plugins. It's way more supported, and there's virtually nothing you can't do with it. Alicia, Vivian, I think that was a mistake. All right, Alicia has been brought back. That sign was not here too long ago. So this is Princess Street, and I used to live just down here at Longboat. We're gonna keep moving. I had a thought to go visit my old home, but we're gonna keep moving. We are not on the Esplanade anymore, but rather whatever street this is. These are co-op apartment buildings on the right. I believe there's a ridiculously long wait list to get into them. As with most co-ops. There's the community center over there. There's a no-frills supermarket just a few blocks that way. Dave says, thanks for the reminder to have SD cards in hand. That's the Windmill Line Cooperative. Yeah, there's a basketball rolling over here. Kicked it back to the guy. All right, this is Parliament Square Park. Should we cut? No, this is Parliament Street coming up. And the Distillery District. I went through the Distillery District not too long ago on a live stream. Mike says, yeah, it's 10 to 12 years. You've been waiting 10 years so far for your chance in one of those co-ops. Well, it's a good thing to get on that list, right? The first ever Parliament buildings for Upper Canada were just on the other side of the park, hence this park's name, Parliament Square Park. All these kids have to do 3 laps for warm-up. She said jog, not run. Why not run? Get your heart up. Your heart rate. Should we briefly cut through the Distillery District since we're here? Normally you have a pretty awesome view of the financial district from here. All that damn fog is keeping it covered up. Cam says, do I run? No. I'm not a fan of high impact cardio. It's batting on the joints. I'll stick to walking. That'll be my excuse. Oh, look where we are. There's a fancy lighting shop. Go Tours Canada. Oh, now it's getting cold. Cam says, but I want the children to run. Yes, I do. This will be a good test of that makeshift wind muff that I put on my phone. This is the old Gooderham and Worts whiskey distillery grounds. There's the Illuminarium. I think it's kind of like a crappy version of Team Labs, if what people have told me is correct. Boku, Japanese eats and drinks. Thompson Landry Contemporary Art Gallery. And we are entering the main courtyard of the Distillery District, where unfortunately they're blasting this music that I hope doesn't get picked up. Spanish tapas. Pat 75 says the Illuminarium in Vegas looks cool. Andrew Williams says, hey everyone, just wanted to shout out to Johnny. Spent the past few years traveling and living overseas. My vids really helped out when you were homesick. Awesome. Where did you go? Hopefully it's good to be back. There's an excellent cafe here called Balzac's. Right in that building over there. A little quick trip through the distillery. Please ring bell for admittance when gate is closed. Aye aye. I've had a view similar to this in many a thumbnail. Backpacked in South America and Southeast Asia for a few months and lived in Abu Dhabi, New Zealand, and Australia for about 2 years. That's quite the tour you're on.
I think because he was divorced, I think she's
Dixon, need to know. Yeah.
We're not supposed to record here, so I put you in the permission for that.
For Distillery District?
Yeah.
Really? Have you been on YouTube? There's like 1,000 videos through here every day.
I know, man, but you need
You-
a permission.
Okay, I'm leaving. You're just doing your job. That's crazy though.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I know,
But,
man,
but
it's crazy, but
so every time someone takes out their camera and does a selfie, do you tell them not to?
No, they can take like pictures and stuff, but they can record like for YouTube channels and you know.
It's social media. All right. I'll be back and I'll film again because, wow. That is ridiculous. The Distillery District security guard just told me not to record in there. What's the difference between me doing this and someone making an Instagram photo or making an Instagram reel? And if you come here during any event or at any time during the day, you see tons of people out there with their cameras. Oh well, he's just doing his job, I guess. All right. That's a new one. You know, it's possible that like ownership or management told security, hey, you need to clamp down on this. Someone complained once they appeared in a YouTube video. But it's weird to draw the line at YouTube. Like, yeah, it is technically a private area, so you're at the mercy of whatever their rules are. But it's extremely hypocritical to tell me not to when there's all these people that have their cameras out. How does he know they're not making YouTube videos? In fact, a lot of them are. It is what it is. I'm not going to fight security. If you're on private property, they have every right to tell you to put your camera away. I just think they're extremely hypocritical to do that. David Ing says, I just walked into the US by accident. Oh well, now we're going north on Trinity Street. Hey, the oldest still operating church in the city is just north of here. This is a beautiful little street. Let's keep going north. Yeah, Pat 75, rule of thumb. If you're in public, you can record whatever you want. That's fair game. Nobody can say anything to you. Ken had a lady tell him while he was streaming with Felicity that he's not allowed to record in public on his cookie live stream. I saw that. And that was just kind of mind-blowing. How can you not know that it's perfectly legal to use your camera in public? You have no right to privacy when you're out. I mean, and it's not like we go out to record people specifically. If you're in the background, you're in the background, so be it. But private property is another story. Whatever the business owner or property owner says goes are the rules. Chris Mills says, sounds like you missed the fun. Willie says, I seen Ken's interaction. Yeah, T-Shot's had one too, where she blew up at security, I think. Know your rights. Whoa, way to handle a red light pickup truck. You are supposed to come to a complete stop, yield to the pedestrian, and then turn when it's clear. All right. Now we're on Trinity Street. Cam says, why are people so mean to Ken? He seems to catch dinguses more than I do. I'm not sure what that's all about. But they seem to come his way a little bit more than mine. And there is the oldest still operating church in the city. All right, maybe we'll head over to River Street. Why not? I was thinking maybe we'll go up Parliament, but we'll keep moving east. Why not, eh? Will says he'd be more scared of Ken. Ken looks like he knows some deadly martial arts. Didn't he bust off 50 some odd push-ups like it was nothing in a video? Yeah, he's got some pretty big guns on him. I like this little sign that says coffee. Yes, I could use some coffee. Mercury Espresso. So we are on King Street East, about to head underneath Eastern Avenue, but I'm going to keep going, or rather Richmond and Adelaide, but we're going to keep going until we get to River Street, I think. Holy shit, look at this. That's a Road Trek 190 Dodge converted vehicle. So 190 means it's 19 feet. It's based off a Ram 3500. They call these Home and Park. That's the model. Why do I know so much about it? Because my dad used to own one just like it. He had like a 1986 model. And I think he swapped it for a 1995 or 1996 model. It was also a Road Trek 190 based on a Dodge. Mike Landry, $2 for a coffee. Thank you, Mike Landry. Thank you so much. I will do that. I will get myself a coffee. Jelly bean, $1.49. Thank you, Jelly Bean, for the $1.49. Much appreciated. Randy Rex isn't 5 miles per gallon. Well, it wasn't so expensive back then to fuel up. I remember when it was once 49 cents a liter. When I worked at a gas station often, we had one of those analog price boards. And I'd have to go up and change it with the big stick. I remember one day we put it up to 59.9 and everyone had a freak out how expensive it was. Joy Bean says popcorn emoji. So this is sumac. Oh, there's Bright Street. We went up Bright Street not too long ago. Just doing a little jaywalking, I guess. Megan's birth year is 86. 80s people unite. The best decade to be born. You got to experience the virtues of having to rewind your VHS tape before you brought it back to the store. Experience the pain of being on the internet and someone else in the house picking up the phone and losing your connection. Along with the joy of upgrading to a 56.6 modem from your 28.8 or 33.6. Telling your stupid friends to get off MSN and AOL Messenger and get on ICQ because it can handle offline messages. If you were born in the 90s, you missed out on all of that fun. I say this as someone born in 1980, straddling the Gen X and millennial line.
That sometimes it pays off, sometimes it doesn't. The one thing that it pays off.
Oh, I think this is Impact Kitchen coming up. It's quite good, but very costly for what it is. They've got a location up in Midtown. Willie says 14.4. Yeah, we had a 14.4. But if you're connecting to like a... Oh, what a nice driver. I stopped to wave him through and he waved me through. If you're connecting to like a mostly text BBS service, and 14.4 was all you needed. I remember logging in to play Legend of the Red Dragon on a BBS. Cam says ICQ was lame, MSN was better. No way! MSN couldn't handle offline messages. ICQ, you just popped your number and password into any computer. You could log in and see all the messages you got while you were out, while you were off. MSN sucks. Plus you had that iconic uh-oh sound. All right, Mike, you sent me $2 for a coffee. We're gonna make that happen. Double sweeteners. Let's go 1 sugar, 1 sweetener. We'll health it up a little bit. We've earned. Oh my God. Hey, Peter Bradfield. I want to see you turn yourself into a coffee, $1.99. Thank you, Peter Bradfield. Please hold your phone approximately 9 inches away from the scanner. We're going to skip that. Order name, Johnny. Pay now. Thank you, Peter Bradfield. We will call your name when your order is ready. All right. We're just gonna wait here and look out the window. Rumor has it they're gonna call my name when my order's ready. Camp says MSN allowed you to nudge people. ICQ could never. The fact that MSN didn't have offline messaging made it so stupidly useless. All right, hopefully this audio isn't picking up or the background music isn't blaring through. As we wait for our Timmies, where I'm at specifically, we're at a Tim Hortons at Lower River and King. I'm just waiting for my coffee. Captain says my pin is 98. That's not my pin. I don't know what you're talking about. But Dano, you didn't have to remove that message. That wasn't my pitch. All right, our order. Yep, that's me.
So the bottom is the way
Apparently my donut is over here. One sec, guys. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. All right, let's get out of here. Let's get the heck out of here. Hey, a super chat. One sec. Let me just put my coffee. We're gonna quickly eat this donut. I don't normally eat donuts, but we're at a Timmy's. Jelly bean, $5, 5 donuts. Thank you, Jelly bean, for the $5. I ate a Timmy's donut in Thailand. Oh shit. I ate a Timmy's donut in Thailand with Alex from Phuket Walk and Sign. Now we eat an inferior Timmy's. A vastly inferior Timmy's donut. Try not to be a litter bug, but the wind threw that stuff away. The last of the donut mukbang. Donut mukbang. All right. Thank you, Mike Landry. Let's go north up River Street. Let me roll my sleeves up. Mr. Mountain Hiker tuning in just in time to see me throw out some trash. Hey, if you ever catch me littering in person, I will personally give you a $100 reward. And no, don't plant some garbage in my back pocket that'll easily fly out. That is one thing I can honestly say I don't think I've done since I was a kid. Was at least not intentionally litter. If you do, you are total scum. I say that half-heartedly, but all right, there is the Humane Society. You know what's funny? I've never been in there, but that is one of my annual donation spots. It's a fantastic cause. I once accidentally sent my contribution to the Humane Society in Ottawa, and they email me every year. They send me like a keychain and like a big package in the mail. There's a Kingston Road, 503 Kingston streetcar. Now we're going up River Street. What's the temperature? We got t-shirts and shorts and pants and jackets out here. It's about 15 or 16. When the wind calms down, it's nice, and then when the wind picks up, it gets a bit chilly. Bernard says I'm drinking microplastics. Oh no! If you cut us all open, I'm sure you'd find a ton of microplastics. There's the beer store. The province has been closing these things down left and right. My local beer store is closing down. They're citing increased alcohol availability at supermarkets and that sort of thing. But last I checked, you can only get packs greater than 12 at the beer store, right? Why not just deregulate the whole thing and let smaller convenience stores sell it too? And let them sell whatever amounts they want. At 75 says, where do we return our empties now? I always just put my empties beside the recycling bin at my building outside. There's always people that come by picking that stuff up. Jason, longtime viewer from Northern Ontario. Thank you. We'll do a path walk soon at some point. I did one shortly before my trip to Tokyo and Thailand. As I take in a double-double. Double-double is 2 sugars and 2 creams. Traditionally, I've got 1 sugar, 1 sweetener, and 2 creams in this one. There used to be a river here. It runs alongside the Don River. The Don River is just east of here. And where's the bucket beer we were promised? Yeah, that was Doug Ford's entire platform. Bucket beer for the masses. Remember those commercials, Maker a Laker, it's a bucket beer? This is Shooter Street. Regent Park, big neighborhood on the left. Holy cow, it's windy all of a sudden. At 75, Lisa needs braces. Dental plan. So I think we just might keep going north up till maybe Castle Frank. And thanks again, Mike Landry, for the Timmies. Toronto Moose says double rocks. So we are on the very east end of the city. You can only go a little more east than this. This is the last major north-south route until you're out at, well, I guess Bayview counts, but Bayview's kind of sealed off. SG says, good morning. You're laughing at the title when I said I'm a bonehead. Well, I am. Oh, this whole block looks like it's being redeveloped. Will says in Newfoundland you can buy alcohol at most convenience stores and gas stations, as you should be able to. We've been a nanny state for quite a while in that department. But Toronto successfully test piloted a drinking in parks program, and they're continuing on with that, fortunately. There's a guy with a City of Toronto garbage can on a shopping cart. Someone needs to put an air tag on their shopping cart. That's Dundas Street. I really like walking this stretch of Dundas between River and Parliament. Right through Regent Park. It has changed dramatically over the years. It's one of those stretches I would say has definitely changed for the best. So we're going north up the west side of River Street, alongside Regent Park, about to head into Cabbagetown.
But she's not even. No. I mean,
Did I hear that Dundas Station might be renamed to TMU Station? Why? That's ridiculous. If you're gonna rename it, call it officially Young Dundas Station to distinguish it from any future stops on Dundas. There's nothing wrong with the name Dundas. Just more taxpayer dollars being burned for reasons that won't improve anyone's life. But yeah, these are the last of the remaining Regent Park buildings. These, in the next and final phase, will be torn down and replaced with mixed income buildings. I think Tridel is the developer charged with it. Unfortunately, Tridel is one of the good developers, at least quality-wise. And the people that live here now will be offered a temporary relocation. And then when the new buildings are built, they'll be offered a spot in the new buildings. I think their new units will be smaller, but they'll get to maintain their lower rent, and they'll also be in a much nicer, newer building. So there's a trade-off there. I think it's being handled quite well. All right, we made it to Gerrard Street East. We're just gonna wait and keep going north here. Does Tim still have the chili bowls? They're so good, says Wildy. I believe they do. I don't normally go to Tim's for food. That double and chocolate dip are sitting kind of heavy. But we're about to head into Cabbagetown. This area here used to be Cabbagetown, an area known for its extensive collection of Victorian homes. And these were all Victorian homes before they tore it all down for this master plan program. But a lot of them were in a rather rundown state and were rooming and boarding houses in what you could describe as slums.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
So that's what led to them being knocked down and replaced with Regent Park. And the idea was for that to be a middle class working professional neighborhood, but that is not how it panned out. It was built right around the same time as the great flight to the suburbs happened, and American auto manufacturers were pitching the idea of a white picket fence in the suburbs, and streetcar networks were being ripped out. And through the 60s, late 50s and 60s, all of a sudden the dream was not to live in a city, but to live out in suburbia. And Regent Park quickly fell into being a low-income, high-crime neighborhood. But fortunately, this part of Cabbagetown was spared, and it has absolutely boomed. In terms of the upkeep and repair of these properties, I think it's the best residential neighborhood downtown in terms of just how nice it is to walk around. It's quite dense. These homes are really close together. There's a lot of old workers' cottages mixed in with some of the nicer Victorian homes. And it's called Cabbagetown as a lot of the Irish immigrants to settle in the area would grow cabbages in their yards. They're a rather hardy and easy to grow crop. Who says, what is happening? So cold? Where is the spring? This is spring. We get this hot one day, cool the next kind of weather. But I'm in shorts, long sleeve t-shirt, sleeves rolled up. Who needs cherry blossoms when you can have one of these? is an absolutely stunning downtown neighborhood. Mike says, I don't miss living in Regent Park. Randy Ruck says it was because of no connectivity. They were basically shut off. If you're talking about Regent Park, master plan communities almost never work out. St. Jamestown, Moss Park, Alexandra Park, they end up very isolated. They don't have retail integration. They're not really integrated well into the rest of the city. And that's why a lot of people were kind of fearing that City Place will eventually turn into that. Hey, there's a streetcar lurching along Broadview. Hey, someone said Jellybean sent 10 new subs. Let me see if I can find that. Sorry about that. Well, I wasn't able to see that because of the coffee. Jellybean sent 10 Johnny Strides gift memberships. Lee, Mr. Mountain Hiker, Mike, Minister of Swag, John, Kevin Slater, 404 Not Found, Zach McNally, Andrew W, and Andrew N. Thank you, Jellybean. Sorry I didn't catch it when it first rolled in. Thank you very much for the 10 new memberships and welcome aboard to the 10 new members. Speaking of which, I think I'm going to update the end screen at the end of my videos. That gives a shout out to all the channel members and Patreon supporters later today. Randy Ruck says a 50s development with very poor planning. Indeed. Oh, this is Riverdale Park. There were some pictures that went kind of viral of Riverdale Park East recently of all the people that were out watching the skyline at sunset. It's always been a popular spot for that. Remy says, why not me? Oh, that stuff is quite random. There's Carlton Street. I could take Carlton Street all the way over to College Station, but this is feeling more like a keep it on the east side kind of stream. Jason says by Sunday it'll be 3 degrees Celsius in Timmins. It stinks of cow dookie right here. There's the culprit. Got Riverdale Farm and the Necropolis Cemetery just on the north side. Whew. I wonder what it takes to get a cow's attention. It's not like a dog. I don't think if you just yell at it, it'll suddenly look over at you. Hey, stupid cow. Jeanette, it is a great park. Is this where Kenny vs. Spenny lived? Not quite. For season 2 onwards, their home was just west of here. And then to the south a little bit. On Sherburne. I actually just took a stroll right past their home and talked about it in an upcoming video. There's the necropolis where Jack Layton is buried. The oldest cemetery in the city is just north of here, where a few days ago I have a good friend who their father was laid to rest at that cemetery. Greetings, Diva Tequila. All right, we walked through Cabbagetown, I think about a month and a half ago. I'm trying to remember the street I took. I don't think I took Winchester, so let's take Winchester. I just don't want to double up. And repeat what I did. But we're going to head out to Parliament and then I think march north up to Castle Frank Station. I think that'll be a good route. Greetings, Cardiff, Canton, and Skeps. Just a reminder, like, subscribe, hit the bell, yada yada. I'll be going live, I think, tomorrow evening with something a little bit different. There may be a special guest involved. So do hit that bell to be notified when. But I think Ken mentioned he might be going live just before that. High and low retrospective. Good afternoon. Look at that car. Ask an American to vote. Votefromabroad.org. Well, they voted all right. What a beautiful, beautiful residential area to walk through. Fantastic density. Oh, thank you, Mike. Caroline says, I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I think Ken will probably go live around 4 to 5. Diva Tequila was lurking while working. And nestled in amongst all these beautiful homes is a really quaint little 3-story walk-up apartment. Blends in quite nicely. On the right here we have St. Enoch's Presbyterian Church, dating back to 1891. Megan says you don't think you could ever get tired of looking at this neighborhood? It is a peach, and that is now the Winchester Street Theater. Metcalf Street here is quite nice. Derek C says, have a marvelous Wednesday, Johnny and everyone. Thank you, Derek C. Same to you. By the way, we are all out of videos from the trip, save a travel video where I fly out of the satellite terminal at Suvarnabhumi Airport in Bangkok. Something I've been meaning to record for a while. I regret not recording through there the last time I flew to Bangkok, so I got that to Vancouver. A little bit different. I just ended the video in Vancouver. I didn't think anyone needed to see me land in Toronto for the 10,000th time. So at least that one's going to be different from every other kind of trip video I've made. See a new terminal, see the arrivals process in Vancouver, where I did go through immigration. Neville says, good afternoon. Where am I now? We are at Parliament in Winchester in Cabbagetown. Beautiful Cabbagetown. The main retail stretch of Cabbagetown runs from about Gerrard Street up to about Wellesley along Parliament. It also goes a little bit along Carlton. This looks like the party bus. Great neighborhood through Halloween. Yeah, I always love doing a Halloween video or stream around Cabbagetown. A lot of the houses are dressed up nicely. Last time I did a live stream through there, and then we went up Church Street where they had a big street party. Hopefully we'll do something similar again later this year, although I'd rather not flash forward to the end of summer. There's something that's a rarity these days, a downtown gas station. Beer and wine is here. 7 a.m. till 11 p.m. Why not just let them sell it till 2? Bars can sell it till 2. Seems like an arbitrary number. Cam just got an ad for toiletries. Greetings, raw music, Rome music, raw music. Coffee, macchiato, espresso, americano. The Tender Trap restaurant. That looks like an old school place. Cranberries Restaurant. So we walked by Regent Park not too long ago. Now we're walking by St. Jamestown. There it is, Canada's densest neighborhood, believe it or not. That's Wellesley Street. Greetings, Shadow Joker, you're back to say hi and bye. Well, hi and bye to you. I still haven't been able to test if I can stream 4K in hot weather yet. Like this. Today's a relatively cool day, no issues. Here's the church where my friend attended a service for their father a few days ago. It's a rather stunning, or cemetery. This is St. James Cemetery and Crematorium. It's a rather stunning property. I'm just gonna have to pull out my battery pack here. But he was buried just north of here. Let me get that battery pack out. One second. If I can locate where the oops. We had a death in the gimbal family. Sorry guys. Just gotta plug something in. Get in there. Stupid USB-C cable. There's a reason why I usually leave this plugged in. There we go. Sorry for giving you guys a little bit of whiplash. Thank you, Diva Tequila. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in and dealing with that tomfoolery. There we go. We're all juiced up. Randy Ruck says 6 hours to puck drop, or until puck drop. Yes, go Leafs. Well, he says the vertigo is real. I wonder how many viewers we lost because of that. Often when you muck around with things, you get a little dip. There's people that just tuned in and all they see is like the camera flipping around and they're like, screw this idiot. He doesn't know what he's doing. Cam says John Foolery. Make sure we're juiced in here properly. One sec. My USB-C cable is all knotted up. Come on. There we go. Please don't drop my phone again. It's got a nice big chunk out of it. After I dropped it last time. Oh, hello. Hi. Some viewers. I don't know. Maybe Rosedale. All right. Shout out to Wally. Friendly viewers, it's been a while since we've had a balcony snipe. I think the last time that happened was over at it looks like a film crew. It was over on Bloor West, right across from Old Mill. The Ottawa Wanderers here. Greetings, Lisa. Fuzzy says the streaming is from the phone directly and not the Pocket 3. Yeah, you can't really do a 4K 60 stream from the Pocket 3. I was streaming from the Pocket 3 for a while, but you can just do so much more with the phone. It's got a powerful processor on hand. And the Pocket 3 can only do RTMP wireless connections, which is kind of a inferior mode of doing a live stream. So are they filming something in the cemetery? I guess. Don't really know. What are they filming?
Just Law and Order.
Law and Order? Oh, the Toronto one?
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
Yeah.
Law and Order, the Toronto edition. Peter Bradfield, $1.99 for a proper burial of a dead gimbal. It was really just the dumbass that was having issues with it, but thank you, Peter Bradfield. There's a look along Howard Street. You know what? I was going to go to Castle Frank, but I'm going to kind of change my plans a little bit. I went through all that power or effort to hook the battery bank up. Why is that driver honking at that lady crossing the street? Like, fuck off. She had every right to cross there. Pardon my French. It's one thing if they're like jaywalking, or if they stop in the middle of the street to check their phone, sure, give them a honk, but she was literally crossing when and where she was supposed to be. Lisa Palmer's having problems linking your GoPro. Yeah, I've never liked live streaming with action cameras and that sort of thing. The wireless connections are always pretty wonky. And if they use 2.4 gigahertz, there's tons of interference. The best way to do it, if you can, is usually a USB-C to HDMI cable or USB-C to USB-C. If you can output a clean video signal that way, which I think with GoPro you can. But then at that point, you might as well just use a phone. He says some drivers have no patience and lose all sense of reality. That is certainly the case. How dare you make me slow down and wait half a second for you to cross the street? Dr. Gordon Chong Park. Cam is excited for the Johnny and Suburbia video. That was supposed to be today, eh? That stream would be just wrapping up about now. I'll get back out to Suburbia at some point. Whoa, look at that. Shiny pink Benz. What is Leslieville like? Asks Matt. Leslieville is a very nice neighborhood. There's a lot of awesome retail on Queen Street East. Lots of great restaurants and places to shop. Transit can be a little hokey. The Queen streetcar doesn't always run the fastest through that area, but they are super frequent, and you can often take the 503 Kingston. I guess Leslieville is quite huge. You could be up further north in Leslieville as well. Cass says, I'm watching from Scotland, and you are super excited to be visiting for the first time ever a week on Monday. Love watching your vids to help you figure out the city in advance. Thanks. Well, welcome in advance to the city. Last time when I went to the UK, I was looking at possibly pairing that London with Scotland. We ended up going to Brussels instead. But I've got roots in Scotland. My mum was born there. I'll have to get there at some point. So I made a video yesterday that started at this very spot, looking at this very thing. Certainly didn't plan on being back, but there is the new pedestrian bridge connecting this side of Glen Road to the Rosedale side. That's been closed for a few years. It'll be so nice to have it back. I'm definitely going to come do a video once it reopens. Maybe we can cross the street here. And get a look at it from the other side. Make sure a cyclist isn't going to come. Neville says, I don't want to see Johnny Strides in Suburbia. It was just a live stream. And it was a relatively built up commercial area I was going through. But yeah, the typical nonsensical suburban residential layouts. Roads that are way too wide, houses that are spaced apart way too far and set back way too far off the sidewalk. Not my thing. Also, those homeowners pay much less in property tax than they should, because it is very expensive to deliver services out to those areas. You still have to run all the same utilities and water line and waste lines and send garbage trucks out there, but everything's so spread apart. So you're welcome for subsidizing you, suburbanites. Hey, there's some kind of protest going on there. Not Just Bikes did a pretty good video on just how inefficient suburban communities are. U.S. El Salvador hand over Venezuelan hostages, I think I saw on the sign. Cam says, I love seeing Johnny in suburbia. The rants are superb. Well, we are north of downtown now. Entering Rosedale. The very posh and wealthy old money Rosedale. And the sun is peeking out. There's that Beatles song, Here Comes the Sun. We're about to take a peek down at the Rosedale Valley Road. There it is. Always love going for a ride through there. But the better view is to be had on the other side of the street. You can kind of see the Yorkville skyline. How is that for a view? I've got a little pebble in my shoe I'm going to try to shake out. Yeah, I'm wearing the old Ultra Escalants. These are the 3s. I wore the Escalant 4s on the last live stream. But I wanted to give the old shoes some love. They're still holding up fine. There's no reason to stop wearing them. And in the fall, Rosedale Valley Road is just a spectacular street. Once all these leaves start changing colors, I pretty much do an e-bike or e-scooter video every year, working my way along it. And what a street of contrasts Sherburne is. To steal a title from my video, perhaps. To the north, it's this ultra wealthy neighborhood. And it goes south along St. Jamestown and Regent Park and Moss Park. Only to emerge in the St. Lawrence neighborhood. You gotta be filthy rich to have a place like that. Actually, that might be an apartment. I do a walk in just flip-flops. I have slides, but I don't wear the thong-style flip-flops, the kind that snap up on your feet. I absolutely hate having that little thing between my toes. That little thong-style, whatever you call it. Drives me nuts. So this is Elm Avenue coming up. I guess I'm just in getting a lot of steps in today kind of mood. I'll just pick up and go. You got to be careful crossing the street here. There's a lot of entitled SUV operators who seem not to care for stop signs or pedestrians. It's really nice how close to Cabbagetown Rosedale really is. If you're in a bit of a walking mood, you can take in two fantastic residential neighborhoods in one walk. And what's great about Rosedale is you get these monster homes, but they're on relatively small lots. They're kind of rubbing shoulders with one another. They're pretty close to the sidewalk. The streets are relatively narrow. Oh, the landscaping at this house. Absolutely gorgeous. I'm just maybe $20 million worth of super chats away from making that the new Johnny Stride Studios. Marcus says watch out for dingus drivers. Whoa. Those landscapers or construction workers said hi. Guess we're kind of making up for the last live stream where I said in the title I was going through Rosedale and I didn't. How to declutter. Learn decluttering gems that will get the most sluggish declutter moving. Everyone is welcome. Curious teenagers to enthusiastic seniors. What about disinterested and grovelly middle-aged adults? Are we welcome? And you call yourself inclusive. One of the annoying things about great neighborhoods like this in Toronto is once this weather rolls around, you think, oh, I'll just go for a walk through Rosedale or Forest Hill or the Bridle Path, see a bunch of monster homes, take in the scenery. But the reality is all you hear is like landscaping equipment. These are the kind of people that have their lawns done every week. It's just a never-ending chorus of weed whackers and lawnmowers. And people loading stuff on and off pickup trucks. That's kind of the reality of these neighborhoods. There's a church. All right, we've made it to Mount Pleasant Road. Look at the one towering over everything else. Just waiting on a moment when I can go for it and cross the road. Of course, as soon as it's clear in one direction, a car starts coming from the other side. name's Greg. So we are on South Drive. So many beautiful properties here. I should almost put the camera in wide angle. Someone once sent me, or they left a comment asking why I don't stream as long as the other people do. They're like, your streams are always an hour and a half. Ken's and T-Shots always go for like at least 2 hours, sometimes 3, sometimes 4. And normally I think about an hour and a half is all anyone can take of me. I think it's kind of the perfect amount for a live stream. But some days we go a little bit longer. Today would be one of those days. Paul Blunt, $6.99, first super chat towards Johnny Stride's Studios. Are you kidding me? It's really gonna happen, fam? Thank you, chat. No, I do not use terms like fam and chat, but thank you so much, Paul Blunt, for the first super towards the future Johnny Stride Studios. Jumbo TV says some of them only do it once a week. I do it multiple times a week. Yeah, we all have different schedules, different ways of doing it. I just think 90 minutes is like the perfect amount. It's good for people rewatching them as well. Since October, MP Chrystia Freeland repeatedly reaffirmed support for Israel. Okay. I thought that might have been something interesting to read. Colin watches 8-hour plus storm chasing streams. An hour and a half is nothing. I also kind of like to be present and tuned in for my streams. If I streamed for like 3-4 hours regularly, I think half of it I'd just kind of be out in outer space mentally. Man, how gorgeous are some of these properties. Please don't say fam, lit, drip, or dope. Well, it's your lucky day. I am not with it enough. This is the Alex Murray Parquet. So I think we want to turn left here onto Crescent. I think this is Crescent. Sometimes you can get a little spun around. Chris Mills enjoys the plane spotting streams. Yeah, they're done by people that are av geeks. And it's really quite the talent to be able to record streams like that. You need a really good zoom lens and a good setup, gimbal or tripod. Here's another gorgeous home. Jumbo TV says these houses are well built. No houses today are as well built as these ones. Well, a lot of these older homes also have really squeaky floorboards and that sort of thing. I'm sure in this neighborhood that's not the case. Man, there's some stunning properties for sure. That one looks like a miniature Home Alone house. No one has ever tried to tell me off for recording in Rosedale. It happened once up in Moore Park, of all places. So I was like, why are you filming? She like stopped her SUV. It's like, oh yeah, I'm casing the neighborhood with a friggin' phone on a gimbal. And someone in Hogs Hollow did the same thing. No issues in Rosedale or Forest Hill. We're hoping Carney gets some prefab houses built. He was talking about a wartime type of housing initiative. Let's see if he was full of shit or not, but as much as I dislike a lot of like track and row housing out in the suburbs, that will ease pressure off of our urban centers. And it'll be good for everyone and the housing market in general. What they really need to do is stop building so many studios and tiny one bedrooms in the buildings in the city. It's the 2 and 3 bedrooms that have all the demand, but nobody can afford them because the market's so out of whack. And developers make more money cramming as many tiny studios as possible. What's going on here? This house is under construction. All right, let's go north up Clooney. The road is kind of closed there. Thank you, Annette. Wow, look at the stonework on that house. Beautiful property. And this is one of the nicest streets of all in Rosedale, Chestnut Park. Tell me this isn't absolutely gorgeous. Neville says, I'm hoping Carney gets actual housing built, mainly apartments built, 3 and 4 room apartments that are short and wide. It's the massive glut of studio apartments and lack of spaces people want to live in long term that has contributed to our housing woes in the city. Doug Ford's idiot idea of paving over the greenbelt to build McMansions isn't going to do a lick of good to improve the housing situation. But nothing that man ever does is with the public in mind. It's just coming out how badly they got deceived and ripped off with the Ontario Place redevelopment plans. Sold out to an organization that wasn't even who they thought they were. Way to do your due diligence, Ontario government. I guess the bribe checks were so big, they looked the other way on everything. RD says, holy baloney, neighborhood straight out of a movie. It is. It's absolutely stunning. And you are, believe it or not, like 5 minutes away from a subway station here, as well as Yonge Street. You're just north of downtown. You're just east of Yorkville. And look at this sidewalk, an interlocking brick sidewalk. How fancy is this? Of all the upmarket neighborhoods in Toronto, I think this one is my favorite by far. It's quite the contrast from the Bridle Path, where it's just huge mega mansion after mega mansion, all with quite tacky designs on giant lots. It has no character. You feel like you're in some kind of bizarre theme park for the rich. Whereas the scale of this neighborhood, the narrow tree-lined streets, relatively Okay, so here's what happened. My iPhone stopped charging and I lost track of it. So it is dead. Rest in peace, iPhone. So I pulled out my other phone. Just so I could come back and give you guys an update, but thank you so much for dealing with that. But yeah, I'm out of juice on my good streaming phone. So what I think we're gonna do is wrap up the stream. Rosedale Station is just over there. We can hear a train go by. We can see a train go by. Someone says you can't hear me. Hopefully you can hear me. Microphone on. All right, can you guys hear me? I don't know if you can hear me, but we're gonna wrap the live stream up. I want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I want to thank our mods, Patreon supporters, channel members, and everyone else. You guys have been awesome. Thank you to everyone who sent support. Thank you to Jellybean for the 10 new channel memberships. Thank you to Mike Landry for the Timmies. Again, tomorrow there's probably going to be a special live stream, maybe around 7 to 7:30 p.m. So do subscribe to the channel and click the notification button. But this is a test of the emergency broadcast system. That's all this is. But I was debating walking north up to Midtown. But with this recent development of the dead iPhone 15 Pro, it went from saying 15% battery to just shutting off. I wonder if my my battery bank is the reason it conked out. But anyways, iPhone dead, stream dead. It was a good stream. We went on for a while. So thank you so much, guys. There won't be a video tonight, but there will be a video tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. EST. And Roy Explores, thank you for the $1.99 at the buzzer. The super chat at the buzzer. Thank you so much, Roy Explores. And thank you again to everyone who sent support. Have a good day, eh? Yoink.